Happy Friday, babes. We hope you all have an amazing weekend. And, babes, if you need to spiral this weekend, go ahead and hit subscribe because, babes, we are your people.
Right. And honestly, if you were sitting there tonight thinking like you were safe from the sheer unfiltered delusion that this week has brought us, well, you are so deeply, tragically mistaken.
Oh, completely mistaken.
Yeah, we are unpacking a level of chaos tonight that honestly requires a very strong cocktail just to mentally process. I mean, we have people offering literal mops as peace offerings outside of historical monuments.
Insane.
Right. We have weaponized incompetence masquerading as a cute, quirky little personality trait. And we have a cliffhanger that literally has me questioning the actual fabric of reality.
I am screaming because, honestly, today was Friday. Like, Biggs, everything about today just hit.
You really did.
The energy is right, the vibe is right, the drinks are poured. But before we get into the absolute television mess we need to dissect, we actually need to talk about the mess happening in your own home.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Because I've been watching you wilding out this week with the online shopping. Like, I see the boxes piling up in your hallway. We have to address the elephant in your living room.
Look, I feel perceived right now, and I don't like it.
You should feel perceived.
But I also, I cannot defend myself because it is entirely accurate. The Amazon delusion spiral is real. It has absolutely consumed my frontal lobe this week.
Yeah.
And the worst part is it started with the most innocent, utilitarian intention.
Sure it did.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I needed to buy a leaf blower for my mom.
Okay, let me just stop you right there. You live in an apartment.
I know.
A high-rise apartment with a balcony that barely fits a single bistro chair. Why on earth are you buying a leaf blower?
This is the absurdity of my existence. I live in a literal concrete box in the sky, completely devoid of foliage, and yet somehow I always get dragged into doing yard work or housework by my mom.
It's true, you do.
It's like a universal law of maternal gravity. I go to visit her in the suburbs for a relaxing Sunday, and suddenly I'm doing hard landscaping. So she mentioned she needed a new leaf blower. I go on Amazon, fully intending to put one single practical item in the cart. One leaf blower.
Right.
I click add to cart, and then my brain just short-circuited. I completely blacked out.
You didn't just black out. You went into a full fugue state. Yeah. I saw the screenshot of the cart. One leaf blower somehow turned into 10 completely different unhinged items.
It was a psychological trap. The algorithm knows my exact vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
So I went from a leaf blower to, well, let's break down the logic.
Enlighten me.
Okay, so the leaf blower requires an extension cord, right? You can't blow leaves if you can't reach the end of the driveway. So an extension cord goes in the cart.
That tracks. I'll allow the cord.
Thank you. But then Amazon suggests a heavy-duty wall-mounted cord organizer. Because who wants a tangled orange cord sitting on the garage floor?
Okay, the organizer makes a sick kind of sense. I'll give it that one too. But how did we get from a cord organizer to a power washing attachment?
Because it was in the customers who bought this also bought section.
Right.
And it triggered this core memory of seeing those incredibly satisfying power washing videos on TikTok.
Oh my God.
So the attachment goes in, but if you have a power washing attachment, you obviously need the specialized biodegradable foaming soap to go with it.
So you are buying soap for a power washer you don't own for a house you don't live in.
Exactly.
Fascinating. And explain to me, please, how the algorithm successfully pivoted you from driveway maintenance to an LED shower head that changes colors based on the water temperature.
Well, obviously, after a long day of imaginary yard work that I will eventually have to do, I'm going to need a deeply relaxing sensory shower experience.
You are so unwell.
It's preventative self-care. But jokes aside, it really made me sit back and think about the psychology of all this. Are we just completely addicted to the dopamine hit of the digital cart?
Yes, 100%.
Does convenience literally own us now?
Yeah.
Why does a website make you feel like you suddenly desperately need things you have literally never thought about before in your entire 30-something years on this earth?
We are absolutely addicted, and convenience completely owns us. And honestly, I am fully enabling this behavior.
I know you are.
You should have bought the extra attachment for the leaf blower that turns it into a gutter cleaner. You never know when your mom's gutters will need cleaning. You have to be prepared.
You see, this is exactly why you are dangerous to my bank account. You validate the delusion.
I am just a supportive friend, but I think the reason we fall for the online shopping spiral is because it gives us an illusion of control.
Oh, absolutely.
You're stressed about your day, you're stressed about clinic, and suddenly Buying a color-changing shower head feels like you are taking active steps to improve your life. It's not about the item, it's about the momentary feeling that you are fixing something.
Wow. That is a deeply uncomfortable truth. We buy the aesthetic of a put-together life instead of actually putting the life together.
Exactly. Speaking of aesthetics and the soft life, let's shift the energy. Because, babes, we just got back from dinner, and it was divine.
A literal culinary awakening.
I have to tell you, Snark Squad, we went to Utopia Restaurant tonight, and when I say we romanticized the absolute life out of this menu, I am still mentally living in the sauce of that adobo jumbo shrimp.
The shrimp was immaculate. The sear on it, perfect.
It's so good.
But we really need to have a serious conversation about the chipotle chicken pasta. The flavor profile on that dish was staggering. It had this smoky depth, and the creaminess perfectly balanced the spice level. It was giving everything it needed to give.
And washed down with those raspberry margaritas. The fresh puree.
Ooh, to die for.
It is crazy how the flavors, the lighting, the whole vibe of a good restaurant just instantly change your mood. We walked in there carrying the weight of the week, exhausted, shoulders literally up to our ears.
Truly in survival mode.
Right. And by the second sip of that margarita, I felt like I was living the ultimate soft life. A good Friday night dinner isn't just food, it is medicinal.
It shifts the entire paradigm of your week. You go from, fighting for your life in traffic and dealing with endless emails to, I am a deity who deserves slow-cooked adobo shrimp.
Yes.
It forces you to be present. But honestly, the absolute highlight of the evening, the thing that really cemented the good vibes, was meeting one of our own.
Yes. A huge, massive, extremely loud shout out to listener Tasha Marie, who came up and recognized us at the restaurant. Babes, we fucking love you. You were so incredibly sweet.
It was so surreal. Like, I'm sitting there mid-bite of chipotle pasta, trying to look somewhat put together, and she just approached us with the most incredible, radiant energy.
She really did.
It is always so humbling and wild meeting a listener in public.
Yeah.
You guys truly have the best taste in restaurants, clearly.
Literally the best taste. Tasha Marie, if you are listening to this right now, cheers to you. We love that you matched our Friday night chaotic energy. It really made the night perfect. Especially because, let's just do a reality check for a second.
Let's do it.
We love the soft life, we love the margaritas, but we have to pay for the soft life. And today at the clinic, it was not giving soft life.
No, it was giving trench warfare. Just a reminder for anyone new joining the conversation, by day, we are both dentists at different clinics. We pull teeth by day, and we pull apart reality TV by night.
Exactly.
And today was a profound test of my professional patience.
Today was an absolute mess. I need to vent for a second. I had a patient today who literally tried to negotiate the amount of numbing gel I was using.
Wait, negotiate? Like it's a flea market?
Yes. They sat in the chair, looked at the syringe, and said, "Can we just do a half squirt? I'm trying to cut back."
Oh my God.
Cut back on what? Anesthesia.
Yeah.
You are not watching your carb intake. This is lidocaine. I am trying to drill into your molar.
People are so wild.
I was standing there holding the drill, just spiraling. I had to take a deep breath and explain that pain management is not a diet plan.
The absolute staggering delusion of patients. It's like they think we're just making it up as we go.
Right. What about you?
I had a similarly exhausting interaction. I had a patient come in for a crown prep. Now, a crown prep is a meticulous procedure.
Super detailed.
Exactly. Total exhaustion. We are running behind schedule. The clinic is a zoo. The phone is ringing off the hook. And right as I get the rubber dam placed, right as everything is perfectly isolated and I'm ready to start, they decide to tell me a 10-minute, incredibly detailed story about their neighbor's dog's dietary restrictions.
Wait, while their mouth is open?
Yes.
Deuce.
Trying to talk around the bite block. I'm standing there with a high-speed drill just nodding, thinking, please just open your mouth.
Yeah.
I am so deeply tired. I do not care that the golden retriever is gluten intolerant.
You literally just have to disassociate.
You do. You just disassociate and nod. But honestly, it's those tiny, ridiculous wins that get you through the exhaustion.
What was the win today?
The impression for the crown came out completely perfect on the first try.
Yeah.
No bubbles, perfect margins. It was a masterpiece.
Oh, that is the best feeling in the world. A flawless impression is basically the dental equivalent of a perfectly mixed Friday night cocktail. It just hits right.
It really does.
But the physical exhaustion of the clinic is so real. Like my back hurts, my feet throb, and trying to get a straight answer out of a patient about whether they actually floss is more exhausting than the physical labor.
Which brings us perfectly to the actual business of the night.
Mm.
Because if we were talking about the sheer exhaustion of trying to get the truth out of someone, trying to get a genuine apology out of these reality TV ladies this week was basically a root canal with zero anesthesia.
The perfect segue. Let's get into it. We are officially on a mission tonight. We are unpacking Belle Collective, Birmingham Season 1, Episode 5. The episode is titled Stir the Pot, Taste the Mess, and also Countdown to Chaos.
What a title.
Right. And it delivered on every single front. It was a masterclass in deflection, deeply rooted interpersonal trauma, and sheer audacity.
It absolutely did. We have been tracking these simmering dynamics for 4 weeks. And tonight, the pressure cooker finally exploded, and it started right out of the gate with the most uncomfortable, historically misplaced standoff I think I have ever seen on modern television.
Let's set the scene. Tiffaney and Stormmi finally face off after the whole clean up on aisle 3 comment from last week.
Right.
And where do they choose to have this incredibly petty, ego-driven conversation? Outside the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, they literally couldn't even make it inside the museum because they started fighting on the sidewalk.
Exactly.
I am reacting purely emotionally here. The audacity to have this fight about a mop outside a civil rights museum.
Let's really analyze the spatial irony of this scene because the juxtaposition is staggering.
Yeah.
You have a monument dedicated to monumental historical struggles, systemic oppression, and the fight for human dignity.
Right.
And right outside the glass doors, you have 2 women aggressively debating the semantics of who told who to pick up a mop.
Mm.
It is reality TV gold because it is so deeply inappropriate.
It felt almost dystopian, like they're standing next to plaques honoring historical giants, and Tiffaney is doing mental gymnastics to avoid saying the word sorry.
Exactly. Let's break down the actual confrontation. So Tiffaney claims that when she told Stormmi to mop the floor with her ass, it was just a joke, just playful banter.
Sure it was.
Right. Stormmi, rightfully, is deeply offended.
Mm-hmm.
So Tiffaney offers what I can only describe as a masterclass in defensive maneuvering and the anatomy of a non-apology. She looks Stormmi in the eye and says, "If I offended you, but I still think it's funny."
I was screaming at the television. If I offended you is the quickest, most universally recognized way to let everyone know you are not actually sorry.
It really is.
It shifts the blame to the other person's reaction rather than your action. It basically says, I didn't do anything wrong, you just have thin skin. Why is Tiffaney so pathologically opposed to just saying the words, I'm sorry? It is 2 words.
Because saying I'm sorry requires conceding power. And Tiffany's playing a massive, intricate power game here. We have to look at the underlying dynamics.
Oh, for sure.
You have 2 highly successful, driven black women. Stormmi has built an absolute beauty empire. She is a self-made millionaire. And Tiffany's joke is to tell her to serve or pick up a mop. It's an attempt to belittle her, to put her in a subservient role.
Right. And Chanel, Stormmi's friend, actually tries to step in and point this out. She tries to highlight the deep racial, classist, and social implications of telling another successful black woman to pick up a mop, especially in the South.
Yes, Chanel really tried.
But Tiffaney completely brushes it off. She refuses to engage with the historical weight of her own insult.
Because engaging with it means admitting she was wrong. And to Tiffany, being wrong is a fate worse than death. But what I find even more fascinating than Tiffany's deflection is her use of a proxy. Can we talk about Kendra's role in this standoff?
Let's talk about Kendra, because I was raging. The absolute nerve of Kendra to jump into a one-on-one conversation between Tiffaney and Stormmi.
So invasive.
Stormmi is trying to hold Tiffaney accountable, and Kendra keeps barking from the sidelines. Stormmi literally had to look at Kendra dead in the eye and say, I'm not talking to you, but you look pretty. I died. I was resurrected, and I died again. It was the smoothest, most devastating read of the episode.
It was a beautiful dismissal. But seriously, why does Tiffany keep bringing Kendra around? Kendra acts as a literal mouthpiece. It's giving bodyguard energy, or more accurately, attack dog energy.
But why? Like, Tiffaney is so articulate. She clearly thinks she's the smartest person in the room. Why does she need Kendra fighting her battle?
It's a classic reality TV production tactic.
Yeah.
You bring a friend to the show who has absolutely nothing to lose to do your dirty work. Tiffany wants to keep her hands relatively clean while still inflicting maximum damage.
That makes sense.
Kendra is acting as Tiffany's shield. If Kendra yells, Tiffany doesn't have to. But when the shield doesn't work, Tiffany pivots to the most absurd defense yet. She weaponizes spirituality.
Oh my God, the quote, I can't even...
She literally tries to spin the narrative spiritually. She pulls out this quote, looking incredibly smug, and says, "Darkness does not like light." She is basically acting like she is spiritually superior to Stormmi because Stormmi won't accept her half-baked non-apology.
Darkness does not like light. I almost choked on my drink. Who says that in a casual conversation?
Really? Well,
She is acting like she's the patron saint of Birmingham because she offered a terrible apology on a sidewalk. It is so unhinged. She is equating Stormmi holding her accountable for a rude comment with spiritual darkness. The leap in logic is Olympic level.
It is deeply manipulative. She's using religious rhetoric to avoid taking human accountability. It's a silencing tactic. You
Yes.
can't argue with someone who claims God is on their side of a reality TV feud.
No, you really can't.
But I think we need to zoom out and look at the bigger picture here. There is a huge theory swirling on Reddit and across the fandom right now about why Tiffaney is digging her heels in so deeply. People are speculating that this entire mop situation has absolutely nothing to do with a mop.
I love a fandom theory. Let's unpack it. What's the real motive?
The theory is that it's a territorial dispute, a turf war. Think about the casting. Stormmi is a crossover star. She originally came from Love and Marriage, Huntsville.
Right. She has a background.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She already has a massive established fan base. She understands how to produce herself on television, and she knows how the reality TV machine works. Tiffaney, on the other hand, considers herself a major foundational player in the local Birmingham social scene.
Okay, I see where this is going.
The theory posits that they are basically dueling for the #1 main character spot on this new show.
Oh, wow. Okay, that frames everything differently.
Right. Tiffaney is trying to assert dominance over the new girl to prove she runs Birmingham. Telling her to pick up a mop was an alpha move, and Stormmi is flat out refusing to be hazed.
That makes perfect sense. It completely explains why Tiffaney won't back down. If she apologizes, she loses the power struggle. She submits to the new girl.
Precisely.
But my counter to that is Tiffaney is looking so messy doing it. If her goal is to look like the poised boss of Birmingham, refusing to apologize outside a civil rights monument is a terrible PR strategy. It's not giving boss, it's giving petty and insecure.
It's a complete miscalculation on Tiffaney's part. She thinks she's playing 40 chess, but she's just alienating the audience, and the pettiness does not stop there. In fact, it escalates to a level of cruelty that honestly surprised me, which brings us to the most unhinged meal I have witnessed in a long time. The lunch of lies and grits, disrespect.
My blood pressure is rising just thinking about this scene, the psychological warfare that took place over this meal. Wow, let's set it up.
Please do.
So Tiffaney reaches out and takes Kayla, our resident gummy bear, out for lunch. And the entire premise, the stated reason for this lunch, is that Tiffaney supposedly feels bad because Kayla said she has no friends.
The premise is incredibly condescending. I am taking you to lunch because you are my pathetic charity project for the afternoon. It establishes a power dynamic immediately.
It totally does.
Tiffaney is the benevolent savior. Kayla is the broken bird. But the fascinating thing is, the tactic actually works initially. Kayla lets her guard down.
She really does. She opens up and shares this incredibly heavy, deeply personal backstory. We find out about her 18-year marriage.
That was intense.
She reveals that she got married when she was literally a teenager, 19 years old, to a man who was significantly older. She talks about how intensely isolated she was during those formative years, how she basically lost her entire youth, and how she used tequila in a cup night and day just to cope with the severe depression.
It was a very raw trauma dump. You hear that story, and suddenly, so much of Kayla's erratic behavior makes clinical sense.
Completely. My heart genuinely broke for Kayla in that moment. You hear that she was isolated by an older man during the exact years she should have been learning how to socialize, make mistakes, and build friendships.
Right, those 20s are crucial.
Yes. You realize, oh, she has massive arrested development. She didn't learn how to function in a peer group because she wasn't allowed to have one. It made me look at her completely differently. I was feeling so empathetic, and I actually thought, wow, Tiffaney is being a really good active listener right now. Maybe I misjudged her. And then the food arrived.
And a cultural crime was committed on national television.
Yeah.
A culinary transgression so severe, it derailed the entire emotional weight of the scene.
I am spiraling just remembering it. The waiter comes over and drops off these gorgeous, steaming bowls of savory shrimp and grits. Now, the Utopia Adobo shrimp could never, but these looked incredible. Rich gravy, perfectly cooked shrimp.
They look amazing.
And what does Kayla do? She looks the waiter in the eye and asks for sugar to put in her shrimp and grits.
I paused the TV. I had to stand up and walk a lap around my living room.
What is happening?
I need to step in here and explain the severity of this offense, because this is not just a quirky food preference.
Yeah.
In Southern culture, the Great Grits debate is serious business. It is a defining cultural marker. Sugar goes in oatmeal. Sugar goes in cream of wheat. Grits are a savory domain. You use salt, heavy black pepper, butter, and maybe some sharp cheddar cheese if you're feeling decadent. But to request sugar for a savory seafood dish like shrimp and grits,
It's disgusting.
it is culinary terrorism. It basically invalidates everything she said previously. I don't care about your trauma anymore. You are putting sugar on shrimp.
It should be a felony. I was so viscerally offended by the sugar request that I almost missed the sheer Machiavellian turn the scene took. Because the second Kayla takes a bite of those sugary, ruined grits, she asks one tiny clarifying question about the muck situation with Stormmi, and the trap snaps shut.
It was brilliant, terrifying reality TV execution. Tiffany's hidden agenda was exposed instantly. Kayla asks a very normal question. She wasn't even being shady. She was just trying to catch up on the group dynamics and understand why everyone was mad.
Right, a totally innocent question.
And Tiffany completely flips the script. The empathetic listener vanishes, and the interrogator appears.
She accuses Stormmi of sending Kayla as a spy, which makes zero logical sense because Tiffany is the one who reached out and invited Kayla to lunch.
It's pure projection. Tiffany invited Kayla under false pretenses to pump her for information, so she assumes Stormmi must have sent Kayla to do the same thing. And when Kayla denies being a spy, Tiffany drops the benevolent savior act entirely.
The absolute cruelty of what she says next. She throws her charity right in Kayla's face. She leans across the table and literally says, "I brought you out here because you said you have no friends."
So cold.
It was so venomous. It proved that the entire empathetic listening session was completely fake. She just wanted a pawn.
It was strategic emotional manipulation. She got Kayla to reveal her deepest insecurities, her isolation, her lack of friends, and then weaponized that exact insecurity against her the moment she felt slightly challenged. It's toxic. And right on cue, as if summoned by the negative energy, here comes Kendra again.
The attack dog is unleashed. Kendra chimes in with this aggressive, deeply unnecessary mean girl energy. She starts aggressively packing up her to-go box of shrimp and grits, hopefully without sugar, and starts shouting, "I don't need no new friends. She the one that need friends."
The visual of her shouting about not needing friends while aggressively securing her leftover shrimp is cinema, but it shows a complete lack of decorum.
Who acts like this at a lunch? You are grown women in a nice restaurant. You don't scream about needing friends while clutching a styrofoam box. I went from feeling so sad for Kayla's tragic backstory to just raging at the screen.
It was a roller coaster.
Tiffany and Kendra invited a woman who just confessed to deep trauma and then actively bullied and isolated her further over a question about a mop. It was exhausting to watch.
It is exhausting because it's a cycle of manufactured drama. But if we want to talk about true exhaustion, physical, biological exhaustion, we have to transition to the reality check of the episode, the segment covering Amber's egg-freezing journey, because this shifted the tone from petty reality TV to stark, painful reality.
It really did. The shift in tone gave me whiplash, but in an important way. We see Amber completely bedridden. She is vomiting, she looks pale, and she describes the pain as feeling like her stomach is literally ripping out of her body.
It was so hard to watch.
The hormonal toll of the injections is wreaking havoc on her system.
It was a very sobering, unflinching look at a deeply physical process. IVF and egg freezing are often marketed as this empowering girl boss choice, take control of your fertility. But the reality is highly medicalized, painful, and precarious.
Extremely precarious.
And the financial pressure Amber is under is massive. The doctor explains that if her hormone levels don't regulate, the cycle is essentially wasted. She would have to double the exorbitant cost and start the painful process all over again.
I reacted so emotionally to the scene. It is so real. As women, the sheer physical toll we are expected to endure for fertility for our futures is just insane. And she is doing this completely alone.
Right, her partner wasn't there.
Her partner isn't there. Her best friend Candace, who is a respiratory therapist, has to come over in her scrubs to literally mix and administer the shots for her because Amber is in too much pain to do it herself.
That moment with Candace was beautiful.
Yeah?
But it contrasted sharply with Amber's dynamic with her mother. Amber expresses this deep, primal desire. She says she just wants her Southern mother to baby her, to hold her, rub her head, and tell her it's going to be okay. But instead she gets tough love. Be strong, push through.
Why do you think that is? Like, why can't her mom just soften up for a minute when her daughter is clearly suffering?
It's a deeply ingrained generational divide, particularly within the strong black woman trope. For older generations, especially in the South, survival depended on immense stoicism. Her mother's idea of showing care is preparing her daughter for a harsh world. Be strong, deal with it, don't show weakness.
That makes sense.
But Amber's emotional need is completely different. She needs softness, validation, and vulnerability. It's a fundamental mismatch in love languages caused by generational trauma.
That makes total sense. Her mom is loving her the only way she knows how to survive. But while we are talking about unsupportive environments, we have to talk about the absolute menace that is Kylan in that bedroom scene.
Kylan's presence in that room was a masterclass in reading the room incorrectly.
That is the understatement of the century. Kylan is standing in a bedroom where her aunt is physically suffering, hormonally wrecked, crying in pain, and staring down thousands of dollars in medical bills. And what does Kylan contribute to the healing environment? She jokes that Amber should just find a man to do it the regular way.
The sheer audacity.
And then she publicly vows right to Amber's face to learn from Amber's mistakes so she never has to go through this herself.
The complete and total lack of a filter is astounding. Let's analyze Kylan's behavior here. Is she just incredibly cruel, or is this a defense mechanism? Often, when people are faced with uncomfortable vulnerability or medical trauma, they deflect with inappropriate humor because they don't know how to handle the heavy emotions.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think she uses humor as a shield, but calling your aunt's fertility struggle a mistake to learn from is just mean. It was giving zero empathy. She basically called her aunt a cautionary tale to her face.
It was incredibly insensitive. But honestly, it perfectly sets up exactly what Kylan is about to do at the Galentine's party.
Yeah.
Her lack of filter in the bedroom was just a warm-up exercise. Her inability to self-regulate is a feature of her personality, not a bug. Which brings us to the main event of the episode, the Galentine's Day confrontation. Kylan versus Kayla.
Oh, the Galentine's party. Let's set the stage. Sonetta, who is honestly trying her best to be the glue of this group, throws this lavish, gorgeous Galentine's event. Everyone is dressed in red and pink gowns. The venue is beautiful. There are floral arrangements everywhere. It looks like a high-end editorial shoot. And then Kayla arrives.
And the editorial shoot turns into a soap opera.
She is in the room for maybe 5 seconds before she is completely in tears. Waterworks, shoulders shaking, the whole 9 yards.
She claims there are severe personal issues going on with her kids. Which, to be fair, if that is true, is a terrible situation to be in. But if we look at this analytically from a reality TV production standpoint, the timing is incredibly convenient.
I was debating this with myself the entire scene. Is she truly, genuinely overwhelmed by a real-life custody situation, or is this her signature weaponized incompetence? She knew Kylan was going to be at this party.
Okay.
She knew Kylan was furious with her. Did she start crying the second she walked in the door so she could preemptively play the victim and avoid Kylan's wrath? Because it felt like a tactical strike.
It's highly suspicious. If you know you're walking into a firing squad, wrapping yourself in a blanket of tears makes it much harder for people to shoot.
Yeah.
It's a defense mechanism. But Kylan is not deterred by tears. Kylan operates on a different frequency. She pulls Kayla aside anyway to confront her.
Let's give the listener context on what this confrontation is actually about, because it didn't happen on camera, it happened on Instagram. Kayla had previously left a comment on an Instagram post, publicly joking that Kylan must have did a line or two, because her energy is always so manic and high.
She insinuated on a public platform that Kylan uses cocaine.
Yes. Let's talk about the implications of that.
The implications are massive. We have to analyze the HR, legal, and social media realities of a comment like that. Joking about someone being on heavy narcotics on a public page, especially when that person's social media is tied to their business and professional brand, crosses a massive line.
Oh, a huge line.
You are no longer just being shady. You are potentially messing with someone's livelihood, their reputation, and their ability to secure brand deals. It borders on defamation. Kylan is rightfully furious. She claims this comment made her feel bullied and triggered her past trauma from high school.
Okay, I want to push back on that specific language a little bit. Do you think Kylan was actually truly bullied by this one Instagram comment? Or is she just furious at the blatant disrespect and using the modern therapy language of bullying to make her case stronger and force the group to take her side?
That is an excellent distinction. Let's look at the definition. Bullying implies a systemic, repeated pattern of power abuse. This was a single, highly offensive, careless comment. I don't think it meets the clinical definition of bullying.
Right, it was just an insult.
But I do think Kylan is using that word because in 2026, accusing someone of bullying immediately paints you as the victim and forces the aggressor onto the defensive. It's a strategic use of language.
I agree. She wasn't bullied, she was insulted. But she has every right to be mad. But the way Kayla defends herself, this is where the weaponized incompetence really shines. When confronted, Kayla doesn't apologize for the specific harm. She claims she is just densy.
Densy, a newly invented adjective for dodging accountability.
Yes. She says she's just clueless, she's densy, and this is just her real, unfiltered personality. She's just a goofy girl who doesn't know any better.
It's a fascinating survival mechanism. She plays dumb so that people actively lower their expectations of her. If she's just densy, you can't hold her to adult standards of behavior.
But nobody is that unaware. I refuse to believe a grown woman living in society today does not know that accusing a black woman of doing a line of coke on a public Instagram page is highly offensive and damaging.
Obviously, she knows.
She knows exactly what she's doing. She plays the innocent, clueless victim to get out of trouble, just like she cried when she walked in the door.
It's incredibly frustrating to watch, and even more frustrating for the people trying to hold her accountable, because you can't logically argue with someone who is pretending not to understand logic. But while everyone is fighting in the mud at this Galentine's party, someone is ascending to a completely different plane of existence.
The ultimate pivot of the episode. Let's talk about Stormmi's soft life and the nightmare cliffhanger. The vibe shifted so hard here, it was like watching a different show. Stormmi takes us away from the drama and out to this massive, sprawling 5-acre plot of land.
And what is she doing with this land? She is custom building a 3,300 square foot, $400,000 estate. And it's not even for her. It's for her parents.
It is the absolute manifestation of the American dream and generational wealth. I was swooning. The sheer, unadulterated, soft life energy of being able to bring your parents to a plot of land and say, "Mom, Dad, I am building you a custom estate because my beauty business is booming." It is gold.
It represents a massive shift in economic power. She is retiring her parents, and she's out there with her adorable toddler son, Chess, creating a time capsule to bury on the property foundation.
And what do they put in the time capsule? A bottle of Canvas Beauty Body Glaze, the exact product that built the empire and paid for the land. It was so poetic.
It was a great marketing moment, too.
It was a beautiful moment, and then Stormmi just breaks down, crying over her late papa, who passed right before Chess was born. I was practically in tears with her. It was such a raw, genuine moment of grief and pride mixed together.
It was incredibly grounding. It humanized Stormmi completely. But what I found intellectually fascinating in that scene was the dynamic between Stormmi and her mother, Betty. Stormmi is crying, visibly looking for that deep emotional validation. She wants her mom to say, "I'm so proud of you. You are doing amazing."
Right.
But Betty delivers that classic tough love. She says she had to be hard on Stormmi to prepare her for a tough world.
Oh my gosh, you are so right. It perfectly mirrors the exact dynamic we literally just analyzed with Amber and her mother.
Precisely. You have two highly successful, driven, wealthy women, Amber and Stormmi, who are dealing with massive life moments, and they just want their moms to hold them and offer softness. And both mothers respond with, "I am preparing you for war."
Wow.
It is such a specific, poignant depiction of generational trauma and how love is translated across decades.
It's armored love. They love their daughters fiercely, but they show it by building armor around them, not by giving them a soft place to land. It's so beautiful, but so sad.
But reality television abhors a vacuum, and it certainly abhors peace. The episode does not let Stormmi rest in that soft emotional space for long.
No, it snatches it right back. Stormmi returns home from this beautiful, grounding family moment to what the producers on the screen literally call a shocking discovery.
The cliffhanger, the absolute bane of my existence.
I was screaming at the television. What is it? We have to spiral on this because I cannot wait a whole week. What did she find when she walked through that door? Was it a break-in? Did someone sabotage the house? Did her husband do something crazy? Did a pipe burst and ruin her entire collection of Gucci bags?
Let's approach this logically based on the breadcrumbs production has left us. The preview for next week's episode is titled Nightmare on a State Street. That title implies a threat to her physical sanctuary or her property.
Okay.
A break-in seems highly likely given her public profile and wealth. Or perhaps a massive, disastrous issue with the new construction that halts the build. Whatever it is, the narrative purpose is clear. It's designed to rip her right out of the soft life and throw her back into chaos.
I cannot wait for next week. I am physically unwell with anticipation, but we have to process everything we just watched. It is time for our favorite part of the night. Let's get into the segments. Segment 1, main character or main problem. Who brought the biggest energy this week and who brought the absolute biggest mess?
I have a very strong thesis on this. Tiffaney desperately, painfully wants to be the main character. She is trying to orchestrate the drama, she is dictating the lunches, she is setting traps, and she is trying to control the narrative.
She is trying so hard.
But because she completely lacks vulnerability and refuses to apologize, her plan is backfiring.
Yeah.
She is rapidly becoming the main problem.
I completely agree. She's overproducing herself. Tiffaney is doing way too much and giving the audience way too little genuine emotion. She's acting like she's the executive producer of the show, but she's just alienating the cast. But for me, the biggest mess of the week has to be Kylan.
Over Kayla.
Really?
Yes, hear me out. Waiting until a public, lavish Galentine's event where everyone is in formal gowns and there are catered appetizers to aggressively confront someone who is already visibly crying. It is the definition of messy reality TV behavior.
It was a massive tactical error on Kylan's part. If she wanted to maintain the moral high ground, which she had, given the severity of the Instagram comment, she should have confronted Kayla privately, or at least at a more appropriate venue.
Exactly.
Doing it at the Galentine's party made Kylan look like the aggressor, even though Kayla was the one who posted the initial defamatory comment. It allowed Kayla to play the victim perfectly.
Absolute mess. Okay, let's move on. Segment 2, Soft Life Delusion Awards. Who is truly living their best life and who is absolutely forcing it for the Instagram grid. I mean, Stormmi undeniably wins the True Soft Life Award. There is no debate. Building a $400,000 house for your parents on a 5-acre estate while your toddler buries your multi-million-dollar product in a time capsule, that is not delusion. That is a tax bracket and a level of peace I deeply aspire to.
Truly. We love to see a woman winning on that level. But the Delusion Award, I have a clear winner in mind. It has to go to Kendra.
The attack dog.
Yes. Acting like a VIP A-list reality star, storming out of a restaurant shouting, "I don't need no new friends," when you are literally a background friend eating free shrimp and grits. It is top-tier delusion. You are a +1. Act accordingly. You are not on the main cast poster.
The delusion is staggering. She thought she was having an iconic viral Nene Leakes moment, but it was giving uncredited extra, causing a scene at a local diner. The lack of self-awareness is breathtaking.
Moving on to segment 3, friendship or frenemy. Which of these connections actually feel genuine to you, and which are one stray, petty comment away from total disaster?
The most genuine friendship, hands down, and honestly the emotional core of the episode, is Amber and Candace. Candace showing up as a registered professional to mix and administer her bestie's hormone shots, holding her hand while she cries in pain. That is real, grounded sisterhood.
I loved that scene.
It lacked all the performative, transactional energy of the rest of the cast.
Absolutely. None of that fake, let's go to lunch so I can yell at you on camera energy. It was real care. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, the ultimate frenemy connection is Tiffaney and Kayla. That friendship was an absolute setup from the exact moment Tiffaney sent the calendar invite. It was a sting operation, not a lunch date.
A sting operation. That is exactly what it was. It ended with to-go boxes, tears, and accusations.
Yeah.
Classic frenemy behavior.
Okay, final segment before we wrap the spiral up. Segment 4. Who would survive the group chat? Which of these cast members would thrive in a chaotic, rapid-fire text thread, and who would immediately leave dramatically?
Well, Sonetta would obviously be the one to create the chat. Yeah. She would name it something fabulous like Birmingham Bosses, assign everyone a specific emoji, and try to organize their Google calendars for brunch. She would thrive as the admin, desperately trying to keep the peace.
Yes. And Kayla would immediately put the chat on Do Not Disturb, claims she literally never saw the 400 messages because she's just so densey, and then accidentally replied to the wrong thread with a wildly offensive meme that starts World War III.
Precisely. Her weaponized incompetence would wreak absolute havoc on a group text. And Tiffaney. She wouldn't even participate in the daily banter. She would just stay silent for 3 weeks, drop a cryptic Bible verse about darkness and light at 2:14 a.m. on a Tuesday, and then dramatically leave the chat.
Tiffaney has left the conversation. I can see the gray iPhone notification now. I am obsessed.
It is the only way she knows how to communicate.
Well, listener, we have thoroughly unpacked the mop standoff, the sugar grits trauma, the hormonal reality check, and the sheer delusion of this episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and matching our Friday night margarita energy during this massive spiral.
You are the only people who truly understand why we get this deeply analytically worked up over reality television, and we appreciate you for giving us a safe space to vent.
But before we let you go, we need to hear from you. Drop into the comments right now and tell us, what food are you desperately craving after listening to this? And please, you have to declare a side. Are you team savory grits, or are you a chaotic sugar grits person? Your character depends on this answer.
I also need to know, purely to validate my own questionable life choices, what was your latest, completely unnecessary, algorithm-driven online purchase? Make me feel better about the color-changing shower head currently sitting in my cart. And finally, based on everything we dissected tonight, which cast member do you trust the absolute least right now?
Let us know. And standard housekeeping, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and send in your own messy stories to our email. We live for your personal drama almost as much as we live for TV drama.
But before we officially sign off, I want to leave you with one final, slightly provocative thought to mull over this weekend. We spent a lot of time analyzing Kayla's erratic behavior and her weaponized incompetence. But if we take her backstory at face value, if she truly spent her entire youth isolated by a much older man, completely removed from normal adolescent social development, is it actually fair for these other women to hold her to the exact same social and emotional standards as a typical 30-something? Or are they inadvertently bullying a woman who literally never learned how to function in a peer group?
Oh, that is a deep cut. That shifts the entire perspective. Think on that this weekend. Until next time, stay fabulous, stay messy, and we will see you on the Snark side.